Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's neighborhood meeting. I will just give a couple minutes to allow some more people to join. All right, so my name is Dana Suddaby, and I'm a planner here with the city's Development Services Department. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is to present to you the neighborhood, a development concept being considered by the owner and development team of 205 Jean Street prior to a formal development application being submitted to the city. This provides an opportunity for the development team to hear initial community feedback and incorporate it into their plans prior to making a full and formal development application to the city. Please be aware we are recording this meeting for the public record. The recording will be used for the purpose of garnering your input to respond to inquiries and will be considered public information. Please also be aware that as a registered attendee tonight, your mailing or email address will be added to the mailing list so that you can receive further information about this application as it progresses. Should you have questions regarding this collection, please contact the Development Services Department. I would also like to let everyone know that there are staff behind the scenes managing the technology tonight. They're here to make sure the meeting runs smoothly, to grant participants the opportunity to speak, and to assist with any questions in the chat. Please bear with us if you have any issues, and if for some reason you get kicked out, please feel free to log back in. The intent of tonight's meeting is to provide members of the public with an opportunity to become familiar with the development application and the planning review process, and to ask feedback of the applicant questions and to provide feedback, So what to expect during the virtual neighborhood meeting is a brief overview of the city's review process and timing, a presentation from the applicant's representative describing the proposal, and an opportunity to ask questions of either the applicant or city staff and provide comments or identify concerns with the application. So what not to expect? City staff recommendations on the application or a detailed analysis on the proposal. This will occur later in the review process, and a debate on the merits of the proposal between the city staff and the applicant. Before we get into the presentation, I just wanted to quickly highlight the next step in the application process. This neighborhood meeting is to establish early in the development process to ensure local concerns are incorporated or addressed through the city's review. After this meeting, we expect that the applicant will make a formal application submission for development project. Formal submissions undergo a full technical review and must address comments received from the neighborhood meeting, from the city's technical departments and external agencies, and members of the public more broadly. In conjunction with this, a statutory public meeting will be held virtually on the application at Planning Committee. At a public meeting, applicants present their application to council, answer questions, and provide an overview in response to any issues or concerns identified during a prior neighborhood meeting. As part of a public meeting, members of the public have an opportunity to provide verbal or written comments. Following a public meeting, staff will continue the technical review process, and the applicants will make any necessary revisions to the development proposal. Once the review process has concluded, a staff recommendation report is brought forward to council for their consideration. All comments received through the review process, including those received at the public meeting and neighborhood meetings, are identified and addressed in the staff report and form part of staff's recommendation on the subject application. A staff report for this particular application would likely be brought forward to council sometime in 2026. I will now move on to the applicant's presentation. As I mentioned, the proposed project and application will be presented first, which we will follow with a question and comment period. So tonight, we are focusing on the zoning bylaw amendment proposed at 205 Jean Street from the applicant's planner, Michael Larkin, from Lark Land Use and Development Consultants. So the proposed zoning bylaw amendment and draft plan of subdivision application seeks to rezone the subject lands from residential single detached dwelling first density, or R1, to residential single detached dwelling fourth density with special provisions, or R4 SB. The intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw amendment is to permit the future development of 8 lots developed with single detached dwellings accessed via a private laneway. So I will now pass it over to Michael Larkin for his presentation.
Hey, excuse me. Thank you, Dana. Good evening. As Dana said, my name is Michael Larkin. I'm the principal of Lark Plan, Land Use Planning Consultants. And I've been working with Mr. Battaglia for some time now in developing a proposal for his property. So I'm going to share my screen. I can. Okay, so as noted, the application is for a zoning bylaw amendment and draft plan of subdivision approval for 205 Jean Street in Barrie. So an overview, the project is for a low-rise, low-density residential form of development. We're proposing 8 new single-family detached units. In our review of the city's official plan, we determined that we comply with the official plan designation and policies. There is a zoning amendment required to modify the zone category and recognize minor amendments to the site-specific standards. And then finally, the condominium format with private ownership of the lots and units will be the ultimate development form. So the applications required are a zoning bylaw amendment, draft plan of subdivision, and ultimately condominium approval and registration. So the property, as you know, is located at 205 Jean Street. There's a frontage of 31.6 meters. The property area is 4.235 square meters, which is about 1 acre. The development area is about 70% of that, so 2,912 square meters, which is approximately 0.7 of an acre. Currently, there's a single-family dwelling on the property with open space. The existing single-family development will take up about 30% of the site, and the balance to be redeveloped for the proposed common elements condominium with what's known as parcels of tied lot ownership. And what that is the project itself will be a condominium. There'll be common elements would be the road and any open space areas. And then each lot, quote unquote, will be owned individually by the future owners. So they'll own the lot and their unit. The official plan designation is neighborhood area. The zoning, as noted, is residential single detached dwelling, first density, R1. The area features a mix of older and detached homes on mature lots with tree-lined streets closer to the bay and newer residential development integrated into the neighborhood. It's a quiet and family-friendly neighborhood, excuse me, stable with a mix of families and long-term residents. As well, the property is a short drive or a bike ride to Barrie's waterfront and Centennial Park on Kempenfelt Bay. So as noted, the land use designations are shown on the slide here. On the left, we have the official plan. The subject lands are indicated in red. And then the neighborhood area is the yellow color. Excuse me, natural heritage systems and green space are located in the shades of green. And this is from the city's official plan of 2024, the new plan. On the right, we have the zoning bylaw. So 205 Jean Street is zoned residential first density. Immediately to the south of the property on the court is an R2 designation, which is a second density, but again, residential single family. You can see by the size of the property, it's quite a bit bigger than the adjacent properties in the same zone category. So the development concept, as I said, is for a common elements condominium featuring parcels of tied lands. So we prepared the colored sketch so that it reads a little bit easier for you. The unit type is single family detached. These aren't attached or townhouse or semis or whatever. They're all independent, discrete single family units. We're proposing 8 of them. Access will be via a private lane to Jean Street. There's a communal amenity space provided in the development, which we'll come back to in a minute. Generally speaking, the zoning setbacks, backyards, rear yards, and so on, are preserved from the existing zoning. Again, the existing dwelling will be retained. The plan will feature enhanced planting, and it'll be based on full municipal service being provided, which is sanitary, storm, and water. There's a bit of a rendering of the concept for this. Basically, we're looking at 3-story dwellings with a maximum height of 10 meters, again, within the zoning. They'll have private land, private yards rather, and communal access to the amenity area. The photograph of a house here is just for representative purposes. The buildings have not yet been designed, but generally speaking, it gives the idea of it's a narrower unit of 3 stories, 2 stories on top of a garage. This is another view of it from a different angle, an aerial view. You see the rear yard of the dwellings, which complies again with the existing zoning specifications. Each lot will include replacement tree planting for screening purposes. And again, you get a view of the property from above. So I mentioned the communal amenity area. We've done a preliminary concept showing what it could be like. Where possible, existing trees will be retained and they will be augmented with new plantings. The plan calls for a mulched path and seating areas, and chairs and benches will be provided for seating and for gatherings. So one of the applications required is for draft plan approval, and that is intended to create the blocks of land representing the common elements and individual parcels of tide lot. So the plan itself will delineate exactly where those blocks are. So subject to approval, then a common elements condominium will be applied and implemented on the property. And that will create the actual parcels of tide lot, which then allow the ownership of the units to be transferred to the new owners. Currently, there will be about 3 blocks, one being the private lane, one being the amenity area, and the third being the existing house. The existing house won't be part of the condominium. It'll be separated out. And then lots 1 through 8 represent the parcels of tide land. Zoning bylaw amendment is required, as I noted, to apply appropriate site-specific guidelines and requirements to the development of the lands. The existing zoning is residential first. Proposed zoning is residential fourth. The XX means that it's to be determined what category. The residential fourth density, the specifications for it conformed as closely as possible to what was proposed, and that's why it's been identified, and for no other reason. So you'll see the chart there shows that the lot areas for the parcels of tide land will be considerably smaller than the obviously the residential 1 density zone, but as well as the residential 4 standard. The lot frontages basically are close to the residential 4 category, half a meter difference. The front yard is the same as required under residential 1 or 4. The attached garage setback is 6 meters to the residential 4 that's being proposed. The side yards are generally consistent with both categories of the zoning bylaw. The rear yard, is again, consistent between the R1, R4, and the proposed R4. The lot coverages, R1 allows a 45% coverage. R4 allows a, small, sorry, as well a 45% coverage. The actual coverage will be less than that. It'll be 39%. So that's exceeds the requirement. And then the maximum height in all three zones is 10 meters. So that actually equates to a three-story building. So with the application, there was a pre-consultation review done with the city. The city identified a number of plans and drawings required, including a topographic boundary survey, site plan, building elevations will be submitted, erosion sediment control, grading and drainage plans will be provided. All this material you see on the slide has to be submitted with the application, which we're currently in the process of putting together. The planning justification report is currently being prepared. It will include a complete technical review from a planning policy perspective and explaining our belief why it fits in with the official plan and why the zoning would be appropriate for it, and the development itself is supportable from a planning perspective, in our opinion. It'll also include a list of all the comments received. It might not be the specific comment, but it'll be the topics anyway, and we will address all of those so that they can be reviewed. All this information will be available once the application is made on the town's website. So everyone will have a chance to go on the website and download or look at or download the material that they're interested in. This, as well as the functional servicing report and the stormwater management report that's required, that's been done. That addresses the servicing requirements and how this development can be actually implemented. And it gives a fair bit of information on that. So going back to my original comment, the project will be on full municipal services. And this explains exactly how that will be achieved without any major disruption to the community or to Jean Street itself. And of course, there's going to be a traffic impact assessment because that's usually a concern when you're adding more housing units into an area. And so all this information, as I said, will be available to the public in hopefully relatively short order. And so that concludes my presentation, and thank you. And we're here to hear your comments. We're taking notes. My colleague Daniel Cerrone is with me taking notes so that we can make sure we capture your comments and your concerns, and we can address them to the best of our ability. You can also directly email me at my address there on the slide with any specific comments you have. If you wish, it's up to you. All emails will be responded to. So again, thank you so much for allowing me to make this short presentation, and we will patiently wait and hear your comments now. Thank you.